Hi everyone, this is Ryan from the Law Commission of Ontario with a quick introduction to ChatGPT and what it means for the practice of law in Canada. I'll give you a little background, then we'll see how ChatGPT does with 4 practical legal problems. It's honestly pretty amazing that we're even asking these questions. ChatGPT has barely been around for 4 months, but already it's got 100 million users. It's literally the fastest growing internet application in history. What are people doing with it? Everything. ChatGPT can generate just about any kind of text from a simple typed prompt. It's like sending a text message. In seconds, ChatGPT will respond and generate whatever you've asked for. That could be sonnets, undergraduate essays, family eulogies, children's stories, or a summary of your physics homework. ChatGPT appears able to do it all. A lot of people hope that ChatGPT can do it for legal questions too. Canada has a huge access to justice gap for millions of people with everyday legal problems. There's a lot of hope that ChatGPT can level the playing field and provide mass access to justice. For instance, ChatGPT could tell a layperson if they have a case or not, acting as a kind of quick legal self-assessment. ChatGPT could also draft materials for court. It'll even quote case law and legislation. This could help people who don't have lawyers to make a good case. It could generate legal documents like wills, a divorce settlement, a custody agreement, or employment contracts, saving people time and money. American advocates have even proposed using ChatGPT to speak live answers to litigants in court, right in their earbuds. So ChatGPT has a lot of promise for access to justice, but is it yet practical? The model has some weaknesses, and this is where the hope hits reality. ChatGPT uses a neural network called the Large Language Model, or LLM. LLMs use statistics to correlate words into phrases and phrases into paragraphs. Scaled up, this can generate entire texts in seconds. It looks human-made, but only because of its training. ChatGPT LLM is based on over 300 billion words scraped from the internet and parsed by neural networks. They identify 175 billion different parameters. Unsurprisingly, a lot of those parameters also work for legal questions. In fact, when some professors brought ChatGPT to school at the University of Minnesota Faculty of Law, it got a C+ average on a couple of exams and essay assignments. Not bad, but is it good enough? Critics worry that the model can give incomplete or misleading information. So let's check out a couple of examples. Let's start with an easy one. Can I get fired for being pregnant? ChatGPT gives you an okay answer to this question and says, yep, that's discrimination. It's pretty generic advice, but it does point you in the right direction. As long as you specify Canada, you can get some quick and very general advice. The default is otherwise American law. ChatGPT can do follow-up questions too. So if I think I've been discriminated against, how do I file a human rights application? It's a procedural question and ChatGPT can help with that. ChatGPT's answer is technically correct, but it misses the big picture. A human lawyer would tell you to go to the Human Rights Legal Support Center. They can give you free advice, prepare documents, and provide advocacy services too. That's a much better option than self-representing. You might also be a bank employee. Even if you live in Ontario, you'd have to file a human rights complaint with the federal tribunal. ChatGPT doesn't ask about that, so it's got a jurisdictional blind spot. More nuanced legal questions get even more muddled. For instance, you could try asking ChatGPT about eligibility for MAID, that's medical assistance in dying. Federal law has been on the books since 2016. But if you get specific and ask about eligibility related to disabilities, ChatGPT only gives a legally generic answer. It sounds plausible, but it's 3 years out of date, legally speaking. ChatGPT can also generate documents, like a residential tenancy agreement. It looks convincing, but it contains almost no details about Ontario law. Instead, the simple standard form agreement that the tribunal provides has prompts for all kinds of legal rights, like which type of housing you're in, what utilities or services are included in the rent, and it tells you about limits on extra fees that landlords can charge, and a whole bunch more. ChatGPT doesn't have any of that kind of information. And what about people who want to do their own legal research? These days, that's a badge of honor, and ChatGPT could make it easier and more sophisticated, but not so much in practice. One law professor asked for articles on a legal question. ChatGPT gave him over a dozen articles that looked good, and each one was fully cited. The only problem? The professor's research assistant couldn't find any of the articles. ChatGPT had made them all up. Lawyers are noting that ChatGPT is also making up cases to fit the question. AI developers call this a hallucination. A self-represented litigant would call it a disaster in the making. So it's unlikely that ChatGPT will replace lawyers, at least not yet. So that leaves this panel with a lot to discuss today. What are the promises and pitfalls of the technology? How are lawyers using it? And is it helping? And finally, is there potential for ChatGPT to improve access to justice for millions? Or is that still a dream? Let's go to the panel and find out.